I'm sitting here 3 months after everything went down, and I still can't believe this was my life. Like, I keep expecting to wake up and find out the last 6 months were just some nightmare. But nope, it's all real. My wife is gone, her AP is dealing with criminal charges, and my daughter barely speaks to me. So yeah, here we go. I'm Jack, I'm 45. I was married to Amanda for 22 years. We have one daughter, Holly, who just turned 18. And until this summer, I genuinely thought we had a good marriage. Not perfect, obviously, but solid. We had our routines. Amanda taught 5th grade at the local elementary school. I work in logistics management, which means I travel maybe twice a month for a few days at a time. Normal stuff. Amanda was one of those teachers everyone loved. You know the type. She'd stay late to help struggling kids. She organised the school fundraisers. Parents requested her specifically. She won Teacher of the Year twice. I was proud of her. Our whole thing was that we were a team. We were building this life for Holly, saving for her future. We started her college fund literally the month she was born. Holly got into her dream school. State university, decent engineering program about 4 hours away. We were so excited. Not some insane expensive private school, but still like $25,000 a year with room and board. We had it covered though. Or I thought we did. We'd been saving for 18 years. We had around $95,000 in there. Maybe a bit more. I'm not great with the exact numbers, because honestly, Amanda handled most of our finances. She was better at that stuff than me. I just knew we were good. So Holly gets accepted in April and we're all celebrating. She picks her dorm, signs up for orientation in late July. Move-in is mid-August. It's the beginning of July when I'm looking at the orientation packet and I realise we need to pay the housing deposit and first semester room and board by July 20th. It's like $8,000 total. I text Amanda at work and I'm like, hey, can you transfer the money from Holly's fund? I'll handle the payment online tonight. She texts back saying she'll take care of it. I don't think anything of it. That was a Tuesday. Thursday night I'm double-checking our bank accounts because I'm like that. I get anxious about big payments, and I noticed the $8,000 didn't come through. I figure Amanda forgot, or maybe she's waiting until closer to the deadline. I text her again. She says she'll do it tomorrow. Friday comes and goes. Saturday morning I bring it up at breakfast and Amanda gets kind of snappy with me. She's like, I said I'll handle it, Jack. Can you just trust me for once? And, okay, that should have been a red flag right there. But I'd recently screwed up and forgotten to pay our property taxes on time, so we got hit with a penalty. And Amanda had been annoyed about that for weeks. So I thought maybe she was still irritated about my mistake and just didn't want me hovering over the finances. I dropped it. Monday rolls around and it's July 15th, 5 days until the deadline. I check the account again, and nothing. Now I'm actually worried, because if we miss this deadline, Holly loses her housing assignment and it's too late to get another one. She'd have to commute or find off-campus housing, which is a whole nightmare. I call Amanda at work, which I never do, and she sounds annoyed. She tells me she's in the middle of summer school session, she'll call me back. She doesn't call back. That night I try to bring it up and she explodes at me, tells me I'm being controlling, that I clearly don't trust her, that she's been managing our money fine for 2 decades and I need to back off. We had this huge fight and she ends up sleeping in the guest room. I felt like absolute garbage, like maybe I was being too pushy. Maybe I should just let her handle it her way. Tuesday the 16th. I'm at work trying to focus, but I can't stop thinking about it. Something feels wrong. Amanda's never been like this about money. She's always been super organised and on top of things. This weird defensiveness is new, and then I think maybe she's stressed about Holly leaving for college. Empty nest thing or whatever. I convince myself that's it. That night, Amanda is nicer to me. She apologises for snapping, says work has been stressful, promises the payment will go through by Friday. I believe her. I want to believe her. Friday, July 19th, the day before the deadline. I check the account first thing in the morning and still nothing. I'm borderline panicking now. I text Amanda 5 times. She doesn't respond until noon and she says there's been a delay but it's handled. Trust her. I don't trust her. I call the bank. I ask them to check the balance on Holly's college fund account. The account that should have around $95,000 in it. The guy tells me the balance is $680. I literally thought he made a mistake. I was like, no, the college fund account, the one ending in 4472. He confirmed. $680. I asked when the money was withdrawn and he said there were multiple transfers starting in February. The biggest one was $50,000 transferred out on June 8th. I was sitting in my car in the parking lot at work and I actually thought I was going to throw up. My vision got blurry and I had to put my head between my knees. $95,000 gone. 18 years of saving. Gone. I drove home. I don't even remember the drive. Amanda wasn't there, she was still at summer school. I went straight to our home office and I started going through everything. Bank statements, her laptop, anything I could find. I know this was wrong and probably illegal, I don't care. I needed to know what happened. The transfers were all to an account I didn't recognise. Multiple transfers over 5 months. 5k here, 8k there. Then the big one, 50k on June 8th. I found Amanda's personal laptop and I went through her emails. I'm not proud of this. Actually, I am proud of this. Whatever. She'd been deleting emails, but not from trash. Amateur move. There were dozens of emails between her and Derek. Derek Collins, a name I'd heard before. He was the vice principal at her school. I'd met him maybe twice at school events. Younger guy, maybe late 30s, divorced. Seemed fine. Normal. The emails were disgusting. I'm not going to go into detail, but they'd been sleeping together since January. Maybe earlier. The emails from February were her telling him she'd help him out with his financial problems. Apparently Derek was in debt. Credit cards, student loans from his ex-wife's grad school, back taxes. Amanda decided to be his saviour. There were emails where she's literally saying things like, I can't watch you struggle, you're such a good man, you deserve better, I can help, and he's playing it up. Oh, Amanda, I can't let you do that, but if you really want to, I'll pay you back, I promise. Just total manipulation. The 50k went to pay off his IRS debt. She literally stole from our daughter's future to save her affair partner from the consequences of his own choices. I sat there reading these emails and I was shaking. Like full body shaking. And the worst part was I kept seeing dates where I was out of town for work. They'd meet up at his place. She'd tell me she was having dinner with her friend Carla or doing curriculum planning. I believed her every time. It was around 3 p.m. when I finished reading everything. Amanda would be home in an hour. Holly was at her summer job. She worked at the mall until 8 p.m. I had time. I needed to think. But I couldn't think. My brain just kept looping. The affair, the money, Holly's college. The deadline was tomorrow. What was I supposed to do? If I confronted Amanda now, everything would explode. Holly's college plans would be destroyed. She'd lose her housing, maybe even her acceptance if we couldn't pay. But if I didn't confront her, if I somehow came up with 8k to make the payment and dealt with this later, I'd be letting Amanda get away with it. With all of it. I called the university's financial aid office. I told them we had an unexpected family emergency and asked if we could get an extension on the housing payment. The woman was sympathetic but firm. The deadline was firm. Housing assignments were based on payment priority. If we didn't pay by midnight tomorrow, Holly would be reassigned to a waiting list. I didn't have 8,000 just sitting around. We had a regular savings account with maybe 12,000, but that was our emergency fund. If I used that, we'd have nothing. No safety net. And Amanda has already burned through everything else. I sat there trying to figure out what to do, and then Amanda came home. She walked in, all cheerful, asking what I wanted for dinner. I just looked at her and I was like, where's Holly's college money? The smile fell right off her face. She tried to deflect, started saying something about how I was being paranoid again. I told her I called the bank. I told her I knew about the transfers. I didn't mention the emails yet. She went pale. Like actually pale. Then came the excuses. Oh my God, this is where she really showed who she was. She sat down and tried to tell me this whole story about how Derek was a good friend who was in trouble and she wanted to help him. She said she was planning to tell me but didn't want to worry me. She said Derek was going to pay it all back, he just needed time. She said she did it because she's a good person who helps people in need. I asked her why she didn't talk to me first. It's our daughter's money. Our money. She said she knew I wouldn't understand, that I'd be selfish about it. Selfish. I'm selfish for not wanting to give 50,000 to some random dude I barely knew. Then she said Derek wasn't random. He was a close friend, a colleague, someone who needed help. She got really defensive about me calling him random. That's when I knew for sure there was more than just financial stuff going on. I asked her straight up, "Are you sleeping with him?" She laughed. Actually laughed. Said I was being ridiculous and paranoid. Said I was looking for reasons to control her. That this was about me not trusting her judgment. I told her I read the emails. She stopped laughing. What happened next was horrible. She tried to tell me the emails were taken out of context. That Derek and her were just close friends who talked about everything. That I was reading things into them that weren't there. When I pushed back, she started crying and saying I violated her privacy. That going through her laptop was abusive. That she felt unsafe. I was so angry I had to leave the room. I went for a walk around the neighbourhood for like an hour. When I came back, Amanda had apparently called her mum. Carla was already there, sitting in our living room. Oh man, Carla. Amanda's mum has always thought I wasn't good enough for her daughter. Amanda has a master's degree, she's a respected teacher. I work in logistics. I didn't go to graduate school. Carla has made little comments over the years about how Amanda could have married a doctor or a lawyer, so having her there was the worst. Carla immediately started in on me about how I was handling this all wrong, how Amanda made a mistake but she was trying to help someone, how I was being cruel bringing this up right before Holly's orientation, how we needed to focus on Holly's future, not dwell on the past. She actually said we should just pay the $8,000 from our emergency fund, get Holly settled, and deal with the rest later, as a family. I told Carla that Amanda stole from our daughter and cheated on me. Amanda immediately denied the cheating part again. Carla said I was being dramatic and making accusations I couldn't prove, that lots of people have close friendships with co-workers, and it doesn't mean anything. Holly came home around 8:30 and walked into this nightmare. Amanda and Carla immediately went into protective mode. Told Holly there was a mix-up with the college fund, but it was being handled. Holly looked at me like I was the problem, because Amanda was crying and Carla was hugging her, and I was standing there angry. Holly asked if her payment was going through. I didn't know what to say. Amanda jumped in and promised her yes, everything was fine. I couldn't do it. I couldn't tell Holly the truth right then with her looking so scared, so I just nodded and went to our bedroom. That night, Amanda slept in the guest room again. I laid in bed going through everything in my head. The affair, the theft, the lies, and the impossible situation I was in. If I exposed everything now, Holly's college plans were done. The deadline was in less than 24 hours. But if I paid the $8,000 and kept quiet, Amanda would think she got away with it. Around 2 a.m. I made a decision. I was going to pay the $8,000, get Holly situated, but then I was going to burn Amanda's world down. The next morning I transferred $8,000 from our emergency fund and paid Holly's housing deposit. I told Holly and Amanda it was handled. Amanda looked relieved. Carla, who apparently stayed overnight in our guest room, looked smug, like she'd won. Holly left for orientation on Sunday. It was a 3-day thing with parent events, but I told her I had to work and couldn't make it. Amanda went with her. That gave me time. I made copies of everything, the emails, the bank statements, all of it. I organized it all into a folder. Then I started making calls. First I called a divorce lawyer, found one who did free consultations, explained the situation. He told me that since the college fund was in both our names, it was technically joint marital property, which made it complicated to call it theft. But the affair and hiding major financial decisions was definitely grounds for divorce. He explained how to protect myself financially going forward. Then I did something I'd been thinking about since Friday. I called the police non-emergency line. I explained that my wife had transferred $50,000 from our joint account to another person, without my knowledge or consent. I asked if that was a crime. They told me to come in and file a report. I went Monday afternoon while Amanda was still up at orientation with Holly. I brought all my evidence. Bank statements showing the transfers, emails showing Amanda and Derek's relationship, everything. The officer who took my report was this woman, maybe in her 50s, and she was really patient with me. She explained that since it was a joint account, it was murky whether Amanda committed a crime against me. But Derek accepting $50,000 that wasn't really Amanda's to give might be different, especially since the email showed he knew she was married and he knew where the money was coming from. She said it could potentially be theft by deception or fraud. She took my report, said they'd investigate. I also called Amanda's school district, asked to speak to ASJAR, told them I needed to report a relationship between two employees that might be against policy. They took my information, then I waited. Amanda and Holly came back Wednesday. Holly was so excited about orientation. She talked through dinner about her dorm room and her schedule and making friends. Amanda sat there smiling and nodding like everything was fine, like she didn't destroy our family, like she didn't steal from our daughter. I smiled and nodded too. But inside, I was just waiting. Thursday morning, Amanda left for summer school. Around 10 a.m, she called me and she was hysterical. Derek had been arrested at school. Actual police came and arrested him in front of everyone. She was freaking out, asking if I knew anything about it. I told her I reported the theft. Her theft. She lost it. Started screaming at me over the phone about how I was destroying an innocent man's life, how Derek didn't do anything wrong, how I was vindictive and cruel. I hung up. An hour later, I got a call from the school district HR. They wanted to meet with me about my report. I went in that afternoon, brought all my evidence again. The HR woman and the district superintendent were both there. I showed them everything. They told me they were opening an investigation into Amanda and Derek's relationship. Affairs between employees violated their code of conduct, but more importantly, there were questions about whether Amanda had used her position or district resources to facilitate the relationship. They asked about the money. I explained she gave it to him from our daughter's college fund. The superintendent looked disgusted. They put Amanda on administrative leave that same day. She came home around 3 p.m., absolutely raging. Holly was at work, thank God. Amanda screamed at me for 2 hours about how I was ruining her career over a misunderstanding, how Derek was going to jail because of me, how I was a vindictive monster. I told her I wanted a divorce. She said fine, good. She'd take me for everything I had. The next few weeks were absolute chaos. Derek's arrest made the local news. Small town. This was huge. Teacher's aide arrested for fraud. The news didn't name Amanda initially, but people talk. Everyone knew. Parent groups on social media went crazy. Amanda's reputation was destroyed overnight. The school district's investigation moved fast. They found that Amanda had been using her school email to communicate with Derek. District property. Big no-no. They also found she'd been leaving school grounds during work hours to meet him. Falsifying time cards, basically. They offered Amanda a choice. Resign and surrender her teaching license, or be fired and have it revoked. She resigned. 22 years of teaching. Gone. Holly found out everything around this time. Amanda tried to control the narrative, but Holly's not stupid. She saw the news articles. She heard from friends whose parents knew. She read the police report because it's public record. Holly was devastated. She blamed me at first, said I destroyed our family, said I should have just dealt with it privately, that I embarrassed her right before college. She moved in with Carla for the last 2 weeks before school started. That hurt worse than anything Amanda did, honestly. My daughter hating me. Derek took a plea deal. He pled guilty to receiving stolen property and fraud, got sentenced to probation, and had to pay restitution. The $50,000 he spent on his debts was already gone, obviously, but he's supposed to pay it back over time. I'm not holding my breath. Amanda moved in with Carla too. The divorce is almost finalized. She's not getting much. The house is mine. I kept most of our assets because of the affair and financial infidelity. Her lawyer tried to argue she deserved spousal support. My lawyer brought out the emails and bank statements. That shut it down pretty fast. Amanda can't find teaching jobs. She's blacklisted, basically. Last I heard she was working as a cashier at Target. Carla still thinks I'm the villain in all this. So that's kind of where things were at when I first told this story. But okay, here's an update since people were asking what happened with Holly. Holly started college in August and we basically didn't talk for like 6 weeks. She ignored my texts, didn't answer calls. It was killing me. But then sometime in late September she called me crying, said she was sorry, said she'd been talking to her roommate about everything and her roommate helped her see things differently. Apparently the roommate's dad had a similar thing happen, and hearing it from someone outside our family made Holly realize I wasn't just being vindictive. I was protecting us. She said she understood why I did what I did, even though she wished it could have been different. We've been rebuilding our relationship since then. She comes home some weekends. We talk more. She's not fully over it. I mean, how could she be? But we're getting there. The weird thing is, Holly barely talks to Amanda now. Amanda will text her constantly and Holly just gives one-word answers. Holly told me Amanda keeps trying to make her feel guilty, keeps saying I destroyed their lives, keeps playing victim, and Holly's just done with it. As for me, I'm doing okay, I guess. The house feels empty. I'm still angry a lot, but I don't regret what I did. Amanda made choices. Derek made choices. They both faced consequences. That's not me being vindictive. That's just what happens when you steal and lie and cheat. Some people think I went too far, that I should have just divorced Amanda quietly and moved on. But she stole from our daughter's future to fund her affair. She was never going to face consequences unless I made sure she did. So, yeah, I reported it. I watched her lose everything, and honestly I'd do it again. Do it.